Hi. Well, welcome to summer, guys. Now, I do want to preface by saying that if you are new to this channel, one thing you need to know about me, I hate summer. I really do. I hate the heat. It's currently 85 fucking degrees here where I live, and so the ceiling fan is on high. You can see it. I'm dying. I'm sweating. Yeah. School is out, which means there are children and teenagers running rampant in the streets. It's crowded everywhere because everyone's out for summer vacation, and it's the busiest time of year for me personally because of work. Summer's just... Me and Summer, we're not girls. We're not girls. We're not girls. What doesn't change is the fact that despite me hating the summer season, I still want to read books. I still love reading. And usually during the summertime, I'm in the mood for beach read, chick lit, women's fiction types of books. Think Ellen Hildebrand, Susan Mallory, Pamela Kelly type of books. Those are usually the books that I'm into when it comes to the summer season. However, this year, I want to start a vlog series that will last throughout the 3 months of summer, where I document me reading, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, YA. I know. Who am I? You guys know, just like me and Summer aren't girls, me and YA aren't girls, okay? But I'm not talking about current YA books. Those aren't the YA books I'm talking about. I want to read YA books from my own childhood, all right? These are YA books that came out while I was in elementary, middle, and high school, from the early 2000s to mid to late 2000s, because I just remember those books being so unhinged. But they were so fun, fluffy, fun, chaotic, messy. The drama that was in early Y2k YA books today just simply couldn't compare. I reread the Mediator series by Meg Cabot last year, and the shit that publishers and authors were able to get away with in the early 2000s, yeah, I don't think they would be able to get away with it now. But I ate that shit up. I really did. I ate that shit up. It was my type of humor, my type of mess, my type of drama that I love. I loved the teenage angst, and that is the type of book that I'm in the mood to read for this summer. I don't know what it is, you guys, but I'm craving some messy ass Y2K books, okay? This bookshelf right here, that bookshelf is filled with all of my childhood books, all right? I have ancient relics from that time that you will not find in bookstores anymore unless you go to a thrift store or a used bookstore, if that even. The thing about YA books is a lot of them take place during the school year, and so I tried to find ones that were predominantly during the summer, or they just felt light, fluffy, and fun, and would be, in my opinion, a summer read for me. You know what I mean? And I thought it would be so much fun to vlog me reading these books because these books were fucking insane, you guys. Like, I don't think you guys understand just how funny and unhinged these books were. They really don't make YA like this anymore. I am hoping and aiming to read at least 1 to 2 books per vlog, and then hopefully post at least 1 vlog a week, or maybe bi-weekly. Do not hold me to that, okay? Do not hold me to that. I just told you that summer was the busiest season for me, so the fact that I'm even attempting to do this, yeah, that's on me. That's on me. Now, before we get into the portion of the vlog where I'm reading these books, I wanted to go over a very loose, okay, TBR of all the books that I have put aside that I want to read for the summer. By the way, I'm not rating any of these books. I'm counting them as read towards my Goodreads goal, but I'm not rating any of these. I don't think that would be fair to rate any of these books. This is purely just for fun for me this summer. I really just wanted to have a fun vlog idea to do. And I actually haven't been this excited about a vlog in a really long time because I'm so ready to dive into these books. I can taste the drama. I can taste the mess already. Let's go through the TBR of books that I have set aside for this vlog series. The first set of books I have are a collection of small, tiny mass market paperback books that were published by Simon Teen, and they were all fun rom-coms. They all have the same uniform size and sort of cover design, but they're all written by different authors. I remember collecting these like fucking Pokemon when I was younger. Any bookstore that I would go to, I would try to find and hunt as many of these as I could because I was addicted to these, okay? While I have a wide variety of them available, I chose 4 for right now, at least. Who knows if I might end up choosing another one later down the road. I chose 4 specifically that I wanted to read. These were my 2 favorite ones. A Novel Idea by Amy Friedman, who I believe is a pretty popular YA author. This book is about a girl who loves to read, and she meets a guy and starts to have a crush on this guy that she met from a book club. 6th grade me thought that that was true love. And then Dancing Queen is about a girl who gets an internship at a TV station and she ends up becoming friends with this huge pop star, rock star guy, and he takes her clubbing everywhere and they fall in love. Iconic. Even though these aren't specifically during summertime, I still want to reread these just for the nostalgic factor of them. However, the other two that I have do take place during the summertime. I have South Beach Sizzle by Susan Wayne and Diana Gonzalez. This one is about a girl who takes a road trip on her last summer before college. And then this one is called The House Next Door by Jennifer Eccles. And this is about a girl who spends her summers at a lake house. And as you can see, there are two boys. Is it giving The Summer I Turned Pretty? Perhaps. I don't remember much about these two, but I mean, I've kept all of these from my childhood, so I must have loved them. But like, I don't remember much about these. Actually, I don't remember much about any of these books. Generally, there are some that I know vaguely the idea of, but specific details, babe, couldn't tell you. I will say once I start reading these books, I will be going into every detail. You will know exactly what is going on in these books because I just know there are going to be some lines and scenes in these books that I have to share. And if it wasn't obvious, I mean, no one's reading these books for the first time in 2026, so there are going to be spoilers, okay? I don't even think you can find half of these books anywhere. And I also have these two little tiny mass market paperback books. I have Summer in the City by Elizabeth Chandler, and the back doesn't even have a summary on it, so I have no idea what that book is about. And then we have Tourist Trap by Emma Harrison. And the tagline on the cover says, "Is he a summer fling or the real thing?" Oh my God, I'm so excited. That is exactly what I wanted. I wanted YA summer fling, chaos, messy, drama. Ugh, God, I'm so fucking excited, you guys. Then am I possibly going to reread the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series? Perhaps. I can't promise that I'm going to, but maybe. The reason I wanted to read YA was because I wanted fun, lighthearted, fluffy bullshit. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is a bit more serious, not in a emotional damaging type of way, but there is more emotional depth to these books. I feel more real life issues than the ones that I just showed you. And so I don't know if I'm for sure going to reread these because, you know, they're not going to be as lighthearted and easygoing as the other books I mentioned, but it's still on my list just in case I am in the mood to reread these and step back into this world. However, I will say iconic series, iconic movies, and these were definitely a part of my childhood that I'll always cherish in my heart. Now, similar to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I do have a few summer vibe Sarah Dessen books, and again, these do have a lot more emotional depth than the other ones that I wanted to read, but it's on the list just in case I end up wanting to read that. And Sarah Dessen had a chokehold on me when I was in middle to high school, okay? I was addicted to this woman's writing. She wrote some of the best YA books I've ever read in my life, and I loved them. I have Someone Like You. I have That Summer, which I think if I was to read any of the Sarah Dessen books, it'd probably be this one. And then I have Keeping the Moon. So those are the three summer-esque books that I have from Sarah Dessen that I might potentially read, but don't hold me to that. All right, let's get into more of the fun, fluffy ones, okay? One of my favorite authors when I was younger was Melissa de la Cruz. She was one of the only authors of color that I remember being just as popular as Sarah Dessen and, you know, Meg Cabot and all of that. And she just so happens to be Filipina, so fucking iconic, okay? She wrote probably the best summer YA series that I'm going to read in this vlog series, and that is the Au Pair series, okay? This is a series where you follow a group of teenage girls who become the au pairs for very, very rich families in the Hamptons. It really doesn't get more Y2k YA than that, so I'm desperate to read these books. I'm so excited. I might do one vlog where I only read this series, or maybe just Melissa de la Cruz's books in general, but I'm so excited to read this. I mean, this literally screams YA summer to me. Then I also have this book by Melissa de la Cruz that I literally have not ever seen anyone talk about or seen anywhere on social media. And I mean, granted, we didn't have social media back in the day, and no one's reading these books for the first time, like I said. But I remember absolutely loving this book because it was literally the only book when I was, I think, in middle school where the main character was Filipina. And so I felt like this book represented me, you know? And that is Fresh Off the Boat by Melissa de la Cruz. And this is about a teenage girl who emigrates here to San Francisco from the Philippines and basically just tries to assimilate into American culture with tons of culture shock for sure. But I'm really excited to reread this. So I have this on my list as well. Similar to the Au Pairs, I have a series called Confessions of a Teen Nanny by Victoria Ashton. And as you can already tell, this is a series about a girl who is a teen nanny for a very, very rich family in Manhattan. This is just, it's giving drama, it's giving scandal, it's giving mess. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited for that too. And then I have 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. This was a cultural phenomenon. Maureen Johnson had girls eating out of the palm of her hands at this time. Really excited for this one too. Okay, and then we have some books set in Hollywood. I feel like it's not really a Y2K, YA era if you don't have books set in Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? Like that was the time. That was the time. So I have Confessions of an Almost Movie Star. The tagline is Gorgeous Guys, Hollywood Gossip, and Red Carpet Revenge. This is going to be one hot summer. And that truly is everything that I want in this vlog series. That's everything. That's it right there. And then of course, I have The A-List by Zoe Dean. This series and Gossip Girl had me in an absolute chokehold. It sure did. Similar to the Gossip Girl, this was, I think by the end of it, 8 to 10 book series. There were so many books in this series. I'm obviously not going to read all of them. Who's to say if I even read up to book 2? But I mean, look at that. It just screams summer. So definitely going to dive into that. This next book, I'm so excited, you guys. Okay, this next book is a book by E. Lockhart. There is no better E. Lockhart summer read than Dramarama. All right, let me just read you the summary of this because this is it. This is everything that I want in a YA Y2K summer read. All right, 2 theater mad, self-invented Fabulositon, Ohio teenagers. 1 boy, 1 girl, 1 gay, 1 straight, 1 black, 1 white, and summer drama camp. Summer drama camp, babe. It's the season of hormones, gold lame, hissy fits, jazz hands, song and dance, true love, and unitards that will determine their future and test their friendship. E. Lockhart out here really doing the Lord's work. Do you know what I mean? Like really serving the way that the Lord intended us to. You already know this is on the list. This is high priority on the list. Yes, it is. Next, I have Gingerbread by Rachel Cohn. This is an iconic book. And when I'm in the mood for a grunge summer, this is it, okay? This is about a girl who, very rebellious, okay, as you can see, and she lives in San Francisco, but she acts out and her parents then send her to live with her biological dad in New York City. And so she's spending summer in New York City. And Gingerbread is actually the name of her little rag doll that she's had since she was a kid. Can't wait, guys. Can't wait. This book was camp. Okay, and then, I mean, this TBR wouldn't be complete without the one, the only Meg Cabot. Now you must be thinking, why am I not reading The Princess Diaries? The Princess Diaries actually wasn't my favorite series by Meg Cabot. Shockingly. I'm not saying that the books were bad. Not saying that the books were bad, okay? But the movie, there is something magical about it that I didn't quite get in the books. However, I got it in this series. I did. This is All American Girl and Ready or Not, the sequel. And this is a series about a girl who saves the president of the United States from an assassination attempt. And then the president's son ends up falling in love with her. Shit that you really could only find in YA. Do you know what I mean? Like, iconic. So my door here to my room opens up to the hallway, and my parents, when we were younger, would leave the hallway light on for us. And when we would go to sleep, my brother and I would keep our door open just ajar. And I remember I would stay up late at night and lay at the edge corner of my bed where the sliver of light from the hallway was shining through, and I would hold my book up to the light and read as much as I could. I really can't emphasize how much of a loser I was when I was younger. I remember being up late at night reading these books like that because I could not stop reading. I did not want to go to bed. I wanted to continue reading. And so I can't wait to dive back into that. Now, will these books have aged well? That I can't tell you, and that I can't promise you. I have no idea. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I will let, I mean, like, you and I will figure out together if they aged well. I can't imagine that they have, but you know what? I'm in it for the vibes and the fun. The last book that I have on this TBR was actually my favorite YA book that I read when I was in high school. That was a book called Audrey Wait by Robin Benway. I've reread this book multiple times. This book is about a girl who breaks up with her boyfriend, and then her ex-boyfriend writes a breakup song about them, and that song goes viral. The radio station picks it up, tops the Billboard charts, and he becomes famous. And then people find out that she's the Audrey in the song, Audrey Wait. Her life is now thrust into the spotlight because of the song, and she has a romance with another guy at school, and it was just so much fun. I'm kind of scared to reread this because we'll see how this ages. For it being my favorite book, kind of scared. Those are all the books that I have on my TBR for this YA summer vlog series that I'm starting. Ugh, I can't tell you guys how excited I am. I hope you stick along with this journey with me, because I promise you we are gonna find some golden, unhinged, chaotic lines together, and you guys are in for a fucking ride, okay? I think we're going to start with a novel idea. I'm really excited, you guys. I cannot believe I'm only just now doing this. I remember in my bookshelf tour video and other videos before that, I've said how many times that I've been wanting to do a series where I reread some of my childhood books, and I'm finally doing it. I'm finally getting to it. So here's to summer 2026. We are going to vlog me rereading my childhood books, and thank you for joining me. So let's start with a novel idea. It is literally 2:28 in the morning. I cannot sleep. This isn't uncommon for me to be up this late. I'm a night owl, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I hate mornings, but I love late nights. Anyway, I did want to read you the back of the book so you are not left wondering what the fuck this book is about. The top line here says, "Required reading has never been so hot." Okay. Once upon a time, there was a Brooklyn hipster named Nora. Unlucky in love and short on extracurriculars for her college apps. Been there. Nora decided to start a book group. She knew the perfect locale, a local indie bookstore with a crush-worthy cutie manning the soy latte counter. When the first meeting arrives, Nora gets a page-turning surprise. The attendees may be bookish, but there are also a few hotties. Most noteworthy, sweet literary James. He's like a modern Jane Austen hero. Only how to snag him? Ever the romantic heroine, Nora devises a secret plan. And if it works, Nora may just find her happily ever after love story. The end. I remember loving this because it was a romance book about a girl that had to do with books and her falling in love with someone who also loves books. And I think this was my first romance that I can recall in my head that was like, oh my God, this is my dream meet cute. This is love to me. I'm going to read the first opening lines of all these books because I just feel like I have to. So chapter 1, I'm not a hopeless romantic. I don't believe in love at first sight or destiny or soulmates. I'm happiest wearing a charcoal zip-up hoodie and vintage jeans, not some floaty pastel dress with kitten-heeled mules. I already love the not like other girls trope. If you didn't know, I would say 90% of the y2k romance books were pretty much all just not like other girls tropes. If you think it's bad now, you wouldn't have survived back in the day. I hate bouquets of roses, boxes of chocolate, and Jessica Simpson ballads. And most of all, I despise Valentine's Day. So unfortunately, I think this may have been what built who I am, because I have to agree with her. I don't hate, but I'm not a fan of bouquets or flowers. I can't really eat chocolate without breaking out. Jessica Simpson ballads, the girl had bangers. That I'm gonna give it to Jessica. But I also agree, I kind of despise Valentine's Day. I'm sorry to all the romantics and to all the lovers out there. I think it is a completely, solely just a consumerist holiday. I mean, you could say the same thing about Christmas, sure, but Christmas is on a different level, and I will always love Christmas more than my own birthday. But Valentine's Day, yeah, I think we've just sort of lost Valentine's Day to the consumerism of it all. But that is the first paragraph of this book. I will keep you guys updated with what goes on in A Novel Idea. I am beyond excited to update you on A Novel Idea. I only made it through 2 chapters last night, but there were some incredibly unhinged lines. I took notes on my phone. I had to. I feel like this is going to be a vlog where I'm dissecting every single line from every book that I read because a gold mine. Chapter 1. So Nora is in her junior year of high school, and it starts off on Valentine's Day, and she ends up having a meeting with her college counselor. Her college counselor is named Miss Bliss. She's described as having wavy blonde hair, a pet nose, and under her prim lavender suit, an ultra curvy figure. I remembered the rumor my friend Scott Harper had told me earlier that year, that Miss Bliss was an undercover Victoria's Secret model sent to our high school to terrorize insecure teenage girls. Maybe it was true. Already I felt way too pale, dark-haired, and flat-chested in her presence. Her college counselor is basically telling her that the only issue with her college apps, because her classes are great, she needs extracurricular activities. Her and her friends call the really pretty popular girls at school plums. And she's walking home from school after that counselor conversation, and she says, "A block ahead of me, Plum Anderson, the girl in my grade with the shiniest hair, extracurricular activities, shopping, and sex." Iconic. Truly iconic. Then after school, her and her best friend Audra, she has 2 best friends. One is Audra, she's black, iconic, and the other best friend she has, his name is Scott, he's gay. Anyway, her and Audra after school, they meet at the Book Nook, which is their neighborhood local indie bookstore, and it's walking distance between her and Audra's house. If I was in high school and I lived walking distance from both my best friend's house and also a local bookstore, that would have changed the trajectory of my life. Genuinely. Mind you, she also lives in a brownstone. Of course she does. All I can envision what this cafe bookstore looks like is a global village coffee house aesthetic, if you know what that means. That is exactly what I am envisioning for this cafe bookstore, and I've never been more jealous of 2 teenage girls. Genuinely, I've never been more jealous because that aesthetic does not exist anymore. And I miss it. It was rich, it was full color. Anyway, so at the Book Nook, her and her best friend are close with Griffin, who is one of the baristas there, and he flirts with them. He's an older college guy, a freshman in NYU, and they're like talking to him. He says that he misses high school, but that him and his friends are doing book groups, which are basically just book clubs. And he encourages Nora to start one since she needs more extracurricular activities, and she can host them at the Book Nook, and he'll help her. Audra has the biggest crush on Griffin. That's the end of chapter 1. Truly, what a way to start a book. We jump into chapter 2. As I said, this is where we meet her family. She lives in a brownstone. Her parents are incredibly smart, intelligent people. Her dad is a physics professor at Columbia, and her mom is a research biologist. And she also has a younger sister named Stacy, who is pretty much the opposite of her indie hipster vibe. Stacy would be described as one of the plums. She's pretty, she's into makeup. When she gets home, her sister's freaking out because she is looking for a new satin trim lace tank top that she was gonna wear on a date with her boyfriend for Valentine's Day. And you guys, I am fucking dead. She's looking for this tank top, screaming at her lungs like, where is it? Where is it? And then their dad goes, "Oh, are you looking for that satin tank top?" And she's like, "Yes, have you seen it?" And he goes, "Oh, I actually gave it to one of my colleagues because he needed material to burn for an experiment." 10 out of 10, no notes. Then she's on the phone with her other best friend, Scott, and he basically is type A and was like, "I'll get all the flyers, I'll call people, I will set everything up for you to have this book group. And honestly, if you want shit done, hire the gays." Happy Pride. They get all the flyers and then they start hanging it up at the Book Nook, and Griffin comes to them and says, "Oh, You know, thanks for the reminder. You'll get to meet all of my friends that are interested in your book club too. Audra turns to Nora and says, watch out, Nors. Between Griffin and his hot friends, we're getting ourselves some book nook nookie. This book is camp, and I'm obsessed. This is giving me exactly what I wanted. Yes, I mean, technically this isn't really a summer beach read vibe because it's Valentine's Day, but you know what? The light, fluffy, rom-com, y2k insanity of it all, I fucking love it. What can I say? I'm obsessed. So that's the update for now. I made myself a fruit plate. I have some plums, apples, peanut butter, and actually, fun fact, my favorite fruits are plums. I read a little bit while I was at the doctor's office in the waiting room. Nora is now at the first book group meeting. All of her friends that had signed up, besides Scott and Audra, dropped out. One thing that I do notice about all of the y2k books that I've read is that they are so intent on label dropping and designer brands being pointed out. For example, this really pretty girl walks in. She's described as a tall girl decked out in a pink pea coat, 7 jeans, and spiked heeled black boots. I clearly had a different childhood because when I was, a junior in high school, if you put a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you what a pair of 7 jeans looks like. But it's very telling of the times. When this girl walks in, Audra leans over. Is it Audra or Audrey? Because her name is spelled Audre, so I can't tell if it's Audra or Audrey. Anyway, I'm going to say Audra. She leans over to Nora and is like, plum alert. And Nora goes, yeah, she's way too pretty to be joining our book club. There's no way she's here for that. And then the barista that these two girls think is really cute, Griffin, goes up to this girl, hugs her, and is like, oh, the book group's in the back. Nora and Audra are like, this is the friend? We thought he was bringing hot guy friends, not a hot girl. Turns out this girl's name is Francesca. I had to pause because this line, Griffin is introducing Francesca to them. He says, guys, this is my friend Francesca Cantone. She's super smart and a big reader, so watch out. Oh, Griffy, I am so not a big reader, Francesca giggled. And Nora, in her inner monologue, says, something about her reaction seemed forced, as if she were acting out the role of ditzy girl on a WB sitcom. The CW used to be WB back in the day for Warner Brothers. And that channel had the best shows that were airing at that time. I loved the WB. And so the fact that it's even mentioned in here, wow. One of the reasons why I love rereading books from my childhood is just revisiting the pop culture of that time. It's fantastic. Anyway, and then she says, I hated her already. Up close, she was even more perfect. Tan skin, carefully plucked eyebrows, pouty lips. God forbid. I feel like in 2026, Francesca would be an influencer. She barely glanced at the rest of us and instantly started examining herself in a Stila compact. Is Stila still a brand? Oh my God, I have not thought of Stila in years. Is that still a brand? Do you guys remember the Stila, what is it, the kitten eyeshadow? The world was a different place back then. It really was. Griffin tells them, why don't y'all settle in and I'll make some coffee? Francesca says, a skim latte for me, sweetie. Audra asks, you're on a diet, huh? This is bringing me so much joy. I can't even tell you guys. This is fucking camp. Oh God, this is probably going to be the most fun I'm going to have on a reading vlog all year. All year, probably. All year. It's going to take me forever to get through this book because I need to stop every 2 pages to tell you guys something that happened. Audra and Francesca get into a little bit of a fight because Audra asks Francesca if she's on a diet. And Francesca goes, what's it to you? Audra goes, I'm the vice president of this book group, and I'm also a friend of Griffin's. How do you even know him? Are you also at NYU? And Francesca says that she's a senior in high school. She lives in Manhattan and goes to a school in Manhattan, but won't tell them what school she goes to. I know there's something going on there. Audra goes, where did you meet Griffin? And Francesca says, we met at an exhibit at the Guggenheim this past fall, but you're from Brooklyn, so you wouldn't even know what that is, right? I live in Manhattan. She said, you don't even know what the Guggenheim is, you dumb bitch. And then these two guys interrupt this whole showdown. And I'm kind of pissed because it's definitely giving a Bravo TV show. And these two guys go up to them and say, is this the sci-fi group? And then the other boy is James, essentially going to be the hero of the book. Nora is sort of observing these two boys and she says, I glanced at James to see if he too was drooling over Francesca, but he was bent over, his hair in his eyes, scribbling something on a napkin. Freak? Mind you, this is the hero. Love. I had to pause to go have dinner with my parents. I can't describe to you how incredible this book is. I forgot to mention that the chapter 2, when she goes home and the whole debacle with her dad and her sister. I can't. But she goes up to her room and she secretly is a hopeless romantic because she hides all these small mass market paperback romance books like the Danielle Steeles, the Nora Roberts. She has a stash of them underneath her bed that she is so ashamed of that she has because she wants to seem like a very intelligent literary person, but she secretly loves her romance books. But we knew that. We knew that. We could see that from a mile away, right? That at the beginning of the chapter, she is in preparation for the first Book Nook book club meeting. She is putting a list together of books that she wants to propose for the book club to read. Her first choice is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Now, as the group is finally together, it's her, Audra, Scott, Francesca, James, and Neil. They are now discussing what book to read. And it's so funny because each individual presents a book that is representative of their personality. For example, Neil suggests I, Robot. Audra, who wants to be a pastry chef in the future, suggests Kitchen Confidential. Francesca suggests Gossip Girl. These kids have my heart. They really do. And then, of course, Scott suggests Boy Meets Boy. If you don't know what Boy Meets Boy is, it is a book by David Leviathan, and I think it was like one of the first gay books that I remember being so popular at that time when I was in middle school. Fucking iconic. Nora in her head goes, all the suggestions were good, but the problem was I'd read all of those books. I wanted something new. I opened my notebook and glanced at my first choice. There was no harm in suggesting it, right? I coughed into my fist. What about? And then James cuts her off and says, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And they're soulmates. They're meant to be. Because why did they both want to read the same book? Oh my God, I'm sick. And I'm so sorry I'm giving you updates every fucking 5 minutes or every 2 pages because it's just so good. It's such good content. Okay, this next chapter... Nora, Audra, and Scott are at a bar. Apparently, they're able to be at this bar because the bouncers don't card anyone, so there's a ton of high schoolers that end up going, and Audra's older brother, Langston, is throwing his birthday bash, and it's always themed, and this year the theme is Come As You Aren't, so Scott shows up as a football player. Iconic. Audra shows up as a goody girl, goody two-shoes with pigtails and everything, and Nora shows up as a plum. It's so camp, I can't even tell you. And she is disgusted at being surrounded by sweaty people with an open back dress. Valid, real, same. And so she escapes to a quiet corner in the back of this bar to read the book that they are reading for book club. And guess who happens to walk over and sit at that same table? James. Yes. Apparently James writes poetry. That's why he's always writing on napkins. And then Nora goes, oh my God, we're both weirdos. Okay, we're at the second book club meeting and no one except Nora and James either finished or liked the book. Francesca goes, I hated the book, worst thing I've ever read. Diva. And then she tells them, I'm already making a list of books that I want to read for the next meeting. This is her list, okay? The A list, The Au Pairs, Summer Boys, South Beach, Sloppy Firsts, The Devil Wears Prada. So basically... my list of reading for this vlog. I think I'm Nora, but I'm actually Francesca. I am. I'm a plum. Oh my God, I'm a plum. Wow, Audra and Francesca are really going at it. Audra's like, do you even care about this book group? Do we know why you joined this group? And Francesca goes, what are you talking about? She's hiding something for sure. Nora goes, you joined for college, right? And Francesca goes, no, I already got in early to Dartmouth. Okay, diva. Okay, Nora is being so dramatic and being like, okay, this book club is over. Nobody liked the first book. Scott was too busy. Francesca and Audra were going to strangle each other. Neil only lived for sci-fi. And James was weird and unpredictable. And my crush on him was only going to lead to disaster when he inevitably rejected me. I made an executive decision. We're done. The book group is over. I'm calling it off. I feel like Nora has to be either an Aries or a Leo with the over-the-top drama. Griffin to the motherfucking rescue. He comes in and says, oh, I just met a really famous poet and I asked her to come do a reading for the Book Nook, but she bolted like I asked her to sleep with me. Moving on. And he said, why don't you guys ask her to do a reading for the Book Nook? Maybe if it came from a high school book group, she'd think that was really cool and a good cause. And so they all decide to do it. The book club is back on after 20 seconds of it being off. And then Nora makes an executive decision that the next book that they're going to read for April is going to be The Devil Wears Prada. Iconic, 10 out of 10, no notes. I cannot begin to describe to you guys how obsessed I am with this book. Since we last spoke, they now have an Operation Find Philippa. They want to find that famous poet. She's a young poet too. I think they said she was 19 years old or something. They are trying to track her down because apparently she lives in the same neighborhood that Book Nook is in. And so they come up with Operation Find Philippa because they want to basically corner her somewhere and beg her to do a reading at the Book Nook. And the Saturday that they plan on doing it, of course, everyone ends up not being able to make it except James and Nora. They spend a whole day together trying to find Philippa. They do end up finding her, but she basically ignores them. And so they're like, oh, I guess we need like a group of us to confront her, not just the two of us. They have a whole day together, cute. They're getting to know each other. And Nora goes on and on and on about how they had the best conversation she's ever had. They talk about books, they talk about poetry, they talk about art. Nora goes back home and she wants to dive into a new book from her favorite author named Irene Odell, and the book is a historical romance called To Catch a Duke. But she gets distracted because her dad asks her to go to the attic and get some files for a certain paper that he's writing up, and upon doing so, she finds a picture where a bunch of teenagers are standing under a banner called Winners of the Columbia University Citywide High School Physics Contest. And she notices that Neil is in this group, but also Francesca. There is this lingering feeling of Francesca hiding something. For example, when Neil and James first get to the book club meeting, the first book club meeting, Neil looks at her and goes, do I know you? But Francesca literally looks at him and she's like, me knowing you? And then also Neil suggests some book about scientific atoms, and Francesca immediately goes like, oh, I've already read that. And then she backpedals and is like, why would I ever read anything about atoms? She's let a few things slip that kind of makes Nora suspicious about what she's hiding. And it turns out that in this photo, she looks nothing like she does now. She's glasses, she has bushy eyebrows, she basically looks like a loser. Is what Nora is describing her as in this photo. And now, she's a plum. She's the opposite. She's pretty, she has nice hair. Anyway, so then Nora goes on reading this historical romance book. Basically, this historical romance book motivates her to kind of fight for James, and it inspires her to make a list of all the things that she's going to do to sort of make James jealous, and sort of all these little ideas of how she's going to get his attention, and without, of course, outright just telling him how she feels, because teenagers don't do that. Not in the early 2000s, babe. Some of her schemes that she writes down is accidentally letting a love note fall out of her book and having him find it, secretly arranging a bouquet from a secret admirer, even though it's obviously going to come from her. She's just doing these things to make herself seem like she has a lot of boys that are interested in her. She types up this letter that she's going to address to herself, and it goes, Nora, this is kind of embarrassing, but I think you're one of the coolest girls I've ever known, and you're really cute too. I smiled, blushing. This was a nice self-esteem booster. I honestly love that she is blushing at a note that she is writing to herself. You don't speak too often, but when you do, it's really smart. And when you take your dark hair out of its bun and let it swing down your back, I think it's, well, beautiful. Anyway, you probably have a boyfriend. Girls like you are never single. If you think you know who this is, write me back and tell me if I have a chance with you. I really, really hope so. Faithfully yours, an admirer. I would be absolutely gagged if James ends up pretending to be this admirer. I would be gagged. Guys, I'm truly trying not to crash out right now, but it has currently been a week and a half since I finished a novel idea. I'm currently editing the vlog so I can post it in a couple days. All of the footage that I had of me reacting to the last half of the book and then discussing my thoughts and opinions about the book, gone. I don't know what happened in the process of me uploading the clips from my camera to my laptop to my external hard drive. And then I deleted all of the clips from my camera because I needed to make space to film more videos. And then when I go to edit the video, like the clip is there, but it's completely blank. It's a black screen and there's no sound. I don't know what the fuck happened, but all of it's gone. And not only that, I have been saying in the past 3 or 4 videos that I have a vlog coming where I read The Lord of the Rings for the first time, and half of the clips are also gone. I'm truly trying not to have a mentee B right now. I'm really trying. Okay. So obviously that vlog will not be happening because it has been almost a month since I finished reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy and half of those clips are gone, and I will not be rereading or refilming to try and summarize that behemoth of a series. But I can summarize what happens in the last half of this book because this is still fresh in my memory, so I remember most of it. Please bear with me, you guys, because there's a lot to go through, and I'm about here. So since the last time that I left you, Audra has a party at her house and everyone from the book club is invited. It's not just the book club that ends up going, but it's a bunch of their friends from school, and also Griffin and his friends end up going too. It's at that party that Nora makes it so the note that she writes to herself falls out from a book. Instead of James finding it, Neil finds it. And everyone starts pressuring Neil to read the note out loud. And honestly, if that was me in Nora's position, genuinely, kill me. Like, the way that I would have to switch schools come Monday morning if a love note that I wrote to myself was found and someone had to read it out loud, I don't know the things that I would do, genuinely. But so they read the note aloud and it does the job. Everyone thinks that she has a secret admirer, and James does seem a little bit jealous that there is someone that likes Nora. For the next book club meeting, it's going to be at Nora's house. So all of the book club goes to Nora's house for the meeting, and she arranges for a bouquet of flowers to be delivered while everyone is there for the meeting. As they're discussing the book, there's a knock at the door, and it is a bouquet of roses that gets delivered. Everyone is like, oh my God, Nora, who is it from? So she reads the card, and it's actually not the flowers that she delivered to herself, but it's a bouquet of flowers from Dylan, her sister Stacy's boyfriend, to Stacy. But Nora pretends that it is the bouquet of flowers that's for her. The doorbell rings again, and it's the actual flowers that she had delivered to her house. So now she has 2 bouquet of flowers that she is pretending is for her. Stacy, her sister, comes downstairs and is like, where are my flowers? And Nora's like, what flowers? Stacy sees the 2 bouquets and she's like, which one of those is mine? And Nora's like, oh no, both of these are mine. And Stacy's like, yeah, right. First of all, Dylan just told me that he had a bouquet of flowers delivered here, so I know one of these is mine. Which one is it? And Nora's like, no, both of these are mine. How embarrassing. Genuinely, the public humiliation that this girl is choosing to put herself through in order to get the attention of this boy. Baby, at this point, just tell him you like him. A rejection from this boy cannot be worse than the humiliation ritual that you are putting yourself through right now. Then after all that, Nora runs into Philippa, that famous poet that they were trying to track down. Philippa apologizes for being super socially awkward, and Nora asks her if she can do a reading for the book club, for their last meeting of the book club. And Philippa says, I can't guarantee or promise that I'll be there, but I will try. I don't know what this girl's issue is. Just fucking show up. Like, just show up to the fucking book club meeting, babe. Okay, so then after that book club meeting, and after they decide to plan this whole book club, like last book club event with Philippa and the reading, the Saturday that they take their SATs, Audra and Nora decide to go watch a movie with Audra's older brother, Langston. They get to the movie theater. Audra goes to go get popcorn, and it's just Langston and Nora in the movie theater. And who shows up with their family? James. James, his younger sister, and his parents are there. Nora looks at Langston and is like, I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend. Nora. And he's like, what? He's like, Nora, you know I just see you as a little sister. She's like, no, I know that, but I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend for like 10 seconds because the guy that I actually have a crush on is about to approach. And Langston is like, this is gonna be a mess. And it is. So James approaches them with his younger sister and he goes, oh my God, Nora, hi. And she goes, this is my boyfriend, Langston. And James is like, oh, okay. Well, what about Sebastian, who is the guy that Nora said was the one that sent that letter and the flowers? And she's like, oh yeah, me and him were just like a fling, but this is my boyfriend, Langston. And James is like, oh, okay, interesting. And then if like that wasn't enough, all these things that Nora's doing, she's taking inspiration from that To Catch a Duke book, right? And these are all steps that the main character in that book had done to get the male main character to pay attention to her. And the third step was her going for his best friend. So at the end of that chapter, after she had done that whole thing claiming that Langston was her boyfriend, she calls Neil. She calls Neil and asks him out on a date. And I remember when I was reading this, I wish I still had those clips. But when I was reading that, I full on gagged. I was like, there's no way that she's about to go on a date with James's best friend. And again, you guys, this is what I was telling you. The amount of drama and just absolute irrationality in these YA books from the early 2000s, there's nothing that compares. There is nothing that compares to it. Neil is shocked because he tells Nora, I thought you liked James and I'm pretty sure James is into you too. And Nora goes, oh my God, wait, what? Really? Did he talk about me? And he said, yeah, I thought you and him had a thing, but like, yeah, we can go out. There is no sense of loyalty in these people. Neil and Nora go out on this date, right? And they're talking or whatever. And this whole time Neil's like, I didn't know that you were into me and blah, blah, blah. And then who shows up at this dinner? Francesca. Francesca shows up at this dinner. Francesca the plum shows up at this dinner. And mind you, at this point, we know that Francesca is actually a closeted nerd, won that physics contest with Neil. She shows up at this dinner and she's looking at the two of them like, what the fuck is going on here? What's happening? Why are you two on a date? And Nora goes, no, it's okay. And Nora's like, did Griffin tell you that we were hanging out? Because she had told Griffin that they were going on a date. And Francesca goes, yeah, he called me last night. Neil goes, why? And Francesca says, because he knew. Knew what? And Francesca looks at Neil and says, he knew how I felt about you. Oh my God, I was dying when I read this. So it turns out that when they were doing that contest or like that program, I don't even know what the fuck that is. The whole time she had a really huge crush on Neil, but he barely spoke to her. And she told him, I knew that I wasn't the girl that you would pay attention to. I knew that I didn't look the way that I needed to. I didn't have the confidence to talk to you. So she literally did a complete 180 and turned herself into a plum so that he would notice her. The things these girls are doing for these boys. Oh, I can't. And then this is the gag of it all, guys. Are you ready for this? When I tell you this girl, Francesca, she took Neil's address from that contest thing that they were in, and she mailed a flyer of that book club thing to Neil's address, but she switched it up and said that it was a meeting for a science club and not a book club. And so that's why when Neil showed up that first day, he goes, is this the science thing? Gagged. Again, the things that these girls are doing for these boys, I need these girls to get up. I need these girls to get up. Anyway, those two end up deciding to be a thing. Then we sort of reach the end of the book, right? We're at the last book club meeting, which is the event that they have been planning for Philippa to show up at and do a book reading. It's at this meeting where everything, like all the chips start falling into place, guys. At this meeting, first of all, Philippa doesn't show up. I don't know what is the issue with this girl, but what she does do instead is she leaves a copy of a physical arc for Nora of her newest novel that's about to come out. That, I guess, makes up for it, even though this book event that they planned for Philippa to do a reading, a bunch of people showed up for it, and all of them are pissed now that Philippa's not going. Same, I would be pissed. This was truly, if I thought anything else was the gag of the century, no, this right now, what I'm about to tell you, truly jaw on the floor. I was absolutely taken aback. Griffin, the barista that they all thought was really cute, and he's helping them with this whole book club thing. Yeah, gay. Asks Scott out on a date. God, I really wish I had the clips, guys, because when I tell you my jaw was on the fucking floor when I read that, the plot twist of the fucking century. Couldn't have predicted from a mile away. Couldn't have. Obsessed. I did not realize how queer this book was going to be. Because it's the last meeting of the book club, it's also the sort of last week before summer vacation. So they're all starting to go their separate ways, and it really felt like the end of a teen rom-com movie. Griffin and Scott stay at the Book Nook to hang out. Griffin actually asks Audra if she wants to be the sort of guest baker to provide pastries for the summer in the Book Nook, since she didn't get the internship that she wanted at this like famous kitchen or whatever. And so they stay behind and do that. Then Francesca, Niels, James, and Nora are like, okay, well, this is technically going to be our last book club meeting. Do we want to do it outside since it's a beautiful day? So they all go outside to the park to have their last book club meeting. Literally the minute that they get there, Francesca and Niels start sucking face, and Nora and James are like, okay, do you actually want to talk about the book? And Nora's like, yeah, let's talk about the book. So they leave them to go make out and do their own thing. And then James confronts Nora and is like, you did all these things for me, right? Because of that book, To Catch a Duke. And she's like, how did you know? When I went to your house, remember that scene that I told you where he really did clock that book was there, and he read that book. And I knew it. I knew he read that book. He called her out and said, you followed every single step that main character did to get the attention of that guy. And Nora's like, yeah, I did everything for you. And James essentially goes, well, you didn't have to. You've had my heart since the beginning. And of course, they end up happily ever after. And I wanted to read you guys the last paragraph from the epilogue of the book. It's called an afterword, but it's basically an epilogue where it's been, I think, a few months since they've been dating. This is the last paragraph. I still don't believe in soulmates, love at first sight, or destiny, but I do believe in books. Books are the reason James and I are together, and books are what will always connect us. And that's why, even though I'm finally living out the most blissful romance ever, I still find time to curl up with the latest novel by Irene Odell, who was the author of To Catch a Duke. Because boys are boys and books are books, and in the end, it's best to have a little bit of both. Cue the Michelle Branch song and the credits, because if that's not the end of a team rom-com Y2K movie, I don't know what is, okay? But that is the conclusion to a novel idea. This was, if I was to rate this would be a 10 out of 10. This gave me teen angst, messy, drama, scandal, plot twists. It gave me gay. Yeah. This had everything. This had everything that I fucking wanted. It had a book club, a girl falling in love with a guy that she meets at a book club. What more could I fucking want in a fucking YA book? That is the end of a novel idea, guys. I hope you guys had as much fun watching me read and recap this as I did actually reading it, because this was a journey. This was a journey, but I enjoyed it.